Yahawah Shem Yahshua Bashim Kakadash Baktah. Shalom. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. And citations to you, I can teach all truth and sincerity. Um, this can be called Was Yahawah Against Multiple Wives? Which our ancestors from Adam on down always participate in having multiple women. Um, you know, and I could read that in Genesis, where when Adam lived after a certain time, he still had sons and daughters. The same with another ancestor. He lived a certain amount of time. He still had sons and daughters, but he didn't have all those sons and daughters by one woman. He had to had found another woman to have his children, because his wife probably passed away before him, or was sick and could not have no more children, you know. So anyway, this is where is it? Um, this is the definition of polygyny, because that's the biblical uh uh what's the word? That's the biblical practice that a man does when he has multiple women, which it says right here. It says the definition, the etymology of polygyny. It says in 1780, the condition of having many wives, marriage, or cohabitation of one man with more than one woman at the same time. Um, from Greek, poly, polygynous, having many wives. From poly, many, uh, Gian, wife, a woman wife. So it's the practice of having many wives. Polygamy, polygamy. Sorry if I'm butchering this. Polygamy. That's different. That gives space for a man or a woman to have multiple partners. But polygyny gives space only for one man to have multiple women at the same time. So I'm gonna move on. Genesis. Is it still going? Yeah, it's still going. Cool. It's Genesis chapter 5, and I'm gonna read verse 1. It says, "This is the book of the generations of Adam in the day that God created man in the likeness of God made he him." And this is our ancestor Adam. It says, man and male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. It says, and Adam lived 130 years and begat a son in his own likeness after his image, and called his name Seth. Because Abel was killed by Cain, and he had his third son, which was Seth, and that's where all people come from. Through from Adam to Seth. That's a connection to Adam. That's all humankind connection to Adam through Seth, and from on down to Noah. From Noah, his Noah three sons. It goes down the line. But anyway, I'm gonna move on. It says, and the days of Adam were, and the days of Adam after him. Let me read that over again. This is Genesis chapter 5, verse 4. It says, the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth were 800 years, and he begat sons and daughters. So he didn't have all these sons and daughters by Eve, he had to gone and found more women to have these sons and daughters by. Seth had other siblings, other brothers outside of the recent brother that passed before him. Um, so he had sisters, and he had other brothers after he was born. And it says all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. It says, and Seth lived 105 years and begot Enos, and Seth lived after he begot Enos 807 years and begot sons and daughters. The same with Seth, and more ancestors down, the generations of Adam, which the generation of Adam were called the Adamites. And that's a part of our history is we didn't just deal with one woman. We part of our customs and a part of our society, men had more than one wife, and the Lord wasn't against that. The Heavenly Father Yahawah wasn't against a man dealing with multiple women. It speaks about that in I'm gonna go to the 2 Samuel. Get 2 Samuel, and then I'm gonna get a few more scriptures. This is 2 Samuel chapter 12 and verse 1. And this is King David talking. Nathan rebuking King David because King David went off and committed adultery and took the wife of his servant Uriah's wife Bathsheba to committed adultery with her. And the Lord, Nathan, the prophet, is rebuking King David. So anyway, this is 2 Samuel chapter 12 verse 1. And Yahawah sent Nathan unto David, and he came unto him and said unto him, there were two men in one city, the rich one and the other poor. And the rich man had exceedingly many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing save one little ewe lamb, which he had bought and nourished up, and it grew up together with him and with his children, and it did eat of his own meat and drank of his own cup, and lay in his bosom, and was upon him as a daughter. And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd to dress it for the wayfaring man that was come unto him, but took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was come to him. And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man. He said to Nathan, as Yahawah liveth, the man that hath done this thing shall surely die. Okay, so and Nathan the prophet is going to tell him that's you, David, because you went in onto because the spirit of Yahawah will be upon Nathan to speak, and because the Heavenly Father Yahawah is going to tell David, if you really wanted more women, I could have gave you more. If the Lord was against polygyny, a man having more than one wife, why would he say this right here in this account, this rebuke to David, if he was against a man having more than one wife, even a king having more than one wife? He wasn't against that. Anyway, I'm gonna continue reading. And he shall restore. This is 2 Samuel chapter 12 verse 6. And he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity. And Nathan said to David, thou art the man. Thus saith Yahawah, power of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul. I gave thee thy master's house and thy master's wives into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah, And if that had been too little, I would have moreover have given unto thee such and such things. And I'm gonna read verse 7 in the NLT. Then Nathan said to David, you are that man. Yahawah, the power of Israel, say, I anointed you king of Israel and saved you from the power of Saul. I gave you your master's house and his wives and the kingdoms of Israel and Judah. If that had not been enough, I would have given you much, much more. So the Lord would have gave David more wives, more land, more riches, more anything he wanted. His heart's desire, the Lord would have gave him that. And you know, people need to understand the Lord is not against a man having more than one wife. That's not true. The only and he wasn't against King Solomon having 1,000 women, having 700 wives, 300 concubines. He wasn't against King Solomon having that many women. What he was uh, uh, against was that King Solomon went off when he was old. He went off in his old age, following the idols of his heathen, concubines. Of the idols of Moab and Ammon, and them you know what I'm saying? Like when he went off and his heart, his mind, uh, you know, got seduced by those idols. That's where King Solomon went off at. He didn't go off for having 700 wives and 300 concubines. I'm gonna move on to Deuteronomy uh, 21 and verse 10. This Deuteronomy 21 verse 10, it says, "When thou goest forth to war against thy enemies, and and um and Yahweh thy power hath delivered them into thy hands, and thou hast taken them captive, and seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and have a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife, then thou shalt bring her home to thy house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails, and she shall put the remnant of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in thy house, and bewail her father and mother a full month. And after um and after and after that thou shalt go in unto her and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. And it shall be, if thou have no delight in her, thou shalt let her go whether she will, but thou shalt not send her at all for money. But thou shalt not sell her at all for money. Thou shalt not make merchandise of her, because thou hast humbled her. Yeah, because once you you know pop her, um, you broke her hymen. She's basically she's basically uh she's not uh she's basically your woman. Um, uh, that's why you can't sell her, because we humbled her with our rod. Um, I'm read verse 15. If a man have two wives, um, one beloved and another hated, and they have bore him children, both the beloved and the hated, if the first son be of hers that was hated, um, you know, if we can't, we have to, what's the word? Give the firstborn gets the larger portion of the inheritance. Um, uh, I'm read verse 16. It says, then it shall be when he maketh his son to inherit that which he have, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. It says, but he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he hath, that he is the beginning of his strength, and the right of the firstborn is his. Yeah, we're supposed to give a double portion of our substance to our firstborn son. Um, you know, that's the way the Lord did Yahawah. He gave a double portion of all he has to him. In the spirit world and on earth. Um, you know. Anyway, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna go to Exodus uh, chapter 21 and verse 10. Uh, It's Exodus chapter 21 verse 10, because these are the because if the Lord was against polygyny or dealing with multiple women, why would he put this in the first 5 books if it wasn't lawful? You know, he gave us if one wife is hated, the one wife's for love. You gotta have a if if your children are gonna inherit anything, the double portion of your substance should go to your firstborn. There's basically rules and regulations when it comes to having multiple wives or dealing with multiple women at one time. This is Exodus chapter 21 verse 10 says, if he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. And I'm gonna read in the NLT. It says, if a man who has married a slave wife taketh another wife for himself, he must not neglect the rights of the first wife to food, clothes, or sexual intimacy. So you got to make sure you're